This is the Fertile Mindset podcast, where we explore all the emotional aspects of fertility to support you on your path to parenthood. My name is Sarah Holland. I'm the Fertile Mindset coach and a mother to 2 children after my own fertility challenges. I hope you find all the support and inspiration you need within this podcast to carry you forward on your fertility journey towards your own successful outcome. It's also my wish that through listening to these episodes, you rediscover how to enjoy life now and live it to the full while you wait for your baby. Now, let's begin today's episode. Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Fertile Mindset podcast, which is another interview with one of my friends in the world of fertility, Naomi Woolfson. I've known Naomi for a few years, and I love that, just like me, her whole focus is on the mindset piece of the fertility puzzle. Naomi is both a fertility therapist and a mum to 2 children after her own 4 years of infertility. You can find Naomi at embracefertility.co.uk, on social media under Embrace Fertility, and also her podcast of the same name, which I was on a few months ago, having had a wonderful conversation with Naomi all about using EFT for fertility. Now, in this chat today with Naomi, we talked about something that we both love and are fascinated with: fertility visualisations. I hope you enjoy listening in, and do listen right to the end where Naomi takes us through a beautiful visualisation exercise. I hope you love it as much as I did. Hello, Naomi. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, it's always lovely getting together. We always have a giggle, so we shall see what comes of today's chat.
Absolutely. It only feels 5 minutes since I was on your podcast.
Yeah.
I can't even remember when that was now, but it feels like 5 minutes ago because we've been in lockdown ever since. But we had such a great conversation there about EFT, which was really lovely. And now we're going to be talking about something that you're really passionate about fertility visualizations and if they can help us get pregnant. So yeah, I'd love to really dig into this topic with you because I know you have so much to share. And I know as well that you're going to be giving us a real example and experience of a fertility visualization at the end, which is so lovely. I'm really looking forward to that part.
I think that's the joy of this. I'm going to share the studies and the research and everything first, but it's really experiencing it. That's the important bit. That is when people can decide, like, is this something that I want to add to my toolkit for getting pregnant? And it's really, find out the studies, find out the benefits, but then try it out and see how it feels.
Absolutely. Good. So let's go right back first and talk about what visualizations are. Can you give us kind of in a nutshell, what are visualizations?
Yeah, so when we use the word visualization in this sense, what we're talking about is using our minds to visualize what we want instead of visualizing what we don't want. So the majority of us visualize all day long. It's part of the way that we as humans work. So when we visualize something, we're basically using our imagination to see something. And some people physically see like images. So if I asked you what color your front door was, for the majority of people, they would pull up a photographic image in their mind of what their front door looks like. And then they can look at that door and go, what color is it? Some people don't work in images, they work more in words. So they'll see the color, so that they might just get like a feeling of red, or they might see the actual word red like pop up in their mind. But all of us have this skill that we can use our minds to visualize, to imagine something that isn't right here now in front of us. And this is how we make decisions. So we use our mind that we can go back and remember what happened a week ago or 10 years ago and see it in our memories and remember what it felt like, or we can go into our future and imagine what that is going to be like. And that's what we want to do today, is be imagining our futures and how we want them to look.
So it sounds like it's kind of being conscious with your imagination then, isn't it? Because like you say, we all do it all the time anyway. We always bring things to mind and imagine things, but this is kind of consciously doing it, isn't it, on purpose for a reason?
Yeah, because some people say, oh, I can't visualize, like it's not something I'm able to do. But if you're able to experience worry, you're able to visualize. Because if you can worry about something happening, it's because you're using your imagination to think about what that's going to be like when it happens in the future. And so sometimes we can get so good at worrying and imagining all the things we don't want to happen, and then we turn around and go, well, let's imagine what we do want to happen. People go, I don't know if I want to do that because it feels a bit scary, because what if it doesn't happen? But it's so much better for us to imagine what we do want than what we don't want.
So how can this apply to fertility? That's what obviously we're all interested in, all the listeners of the podcast are interested in. Like, what are the benefits of that, and how does it work for fertility?
So the benefits of adding fertility visualization into your sort of get pregnant plan are many. I have a list, Sarah. I have a list.
Fantastic.
So the main one is that it can be really enjoyable. It's taking time each day, and this could be just a few minutes, or it could be up to like 20 minutes, half an hour, depending on what feels good for you. But it's time for you just to stop and just to think about what you want in a really positive way and in a powerful way. And it can give you that sense of empowerment, because so much of the time we can feel so out of control when we're going through infertility, and so much is out of our hands. Doing something for yourself where you're connecting in with your body, taking yourself into deep, deep relaxation, the benefit of using, so I'm a hypnotherapist, so I use hypnosis alongside the visualizations to guide your body into deep relaxation. And this means that you are accessing your subconscious mind on a deeper level as well. And so you're giving yourself that time and space to really just be and exist. And that is so helpful when you're feeling overwhelmed and so much is coming at you.
Fantastic. And yeah, it sounds to me like, this is such a positive, like you say, enjoyable thing to do. And so often our mind will go to the negatives, won't it? And what if this happens, or what if that happens and it doesn't work out? But if we give ourselves the gift of doing that, like you say, 10 minutes a day or whatever regular practice you can get into, how amazing to connect with positively what you're working towards. Because when you're on a fertility journey, you don't want to be imagining the negative outcomes. You want to put your mind towards actually what you're working towards, because then your actions will be aligned with it. Sorry, I'm probably saying things that you're going to say in a minute, but I'm just realizing how focusing it is. So yeah, please carry on with your other benefits. I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, it's definitely that, because especially if we're going, like month after month of tests and injections and negative test results, sometimes it can really feel like, what am I doing all this for? It feels like, you're just on this like hamster wheel. And especially because with pregnancy, you're pregnant or you're not. It's not like, I suppose there are a few markers and tests you can go, well, I have improved my health, or I have improved, my diet. But the majority of the time, you're pregnant or you're not. So you don't feel that you're sort of putting all this effort in and you're just on this hamster wheel. So the joy of spending time each day really thinking about the end goal gives you that kind of energy boost to keep going. So for me, being able to do those injections with IVF, I needed to keep that visualization of having my baby in my mind. I was like, I hate doing these injections. I hate doing this, but it's going to be worth it. So if I could imagine holding my baby, just before I did that injection, it like gave me that boost of, I can do this.
Absolutely. I'm such a big fan of turning around how we look at fertility treatment. And like you say, those really uncomfortable parts of it, like the injections, is if we can bring a positive energy around them and seeing how it's supporting you getting to your goal, rather than, oh, this is awful, I have to do this, it really changes the whole experience of it, doesn't it?
And that's the benefit, is that there are so many studies that show that reducing stress and anxiety with women going through infertility can double their chances of success. And the flip side of that is there are studies that have shown if women have had a failed cycle of IVF and experience anxiety or depressive thoughts before their next cycle, their chance of success are reduced. So speaking and actually dealing with the anxiety, dealing with depression, and visualization is a fantastic way to do this. You're doubling your chances, which is just amazing. If someone said, oh, spend 10 minutes a day and you double your chances, you'd be like, well, yes, thank you, sign me up. And it's something that's very, it's it's going to say easy to do, but as we'll come to in a moment, there are kind of flip sides to that. But it doesn't cost anything if you're just using your imagination. It's very cheap if you're getting like hypnosis MP3s or watching sort of videos of consent. So one way thing when I think about it is it's a really good idea to watch like an animation of what happens with conception. So watching, the sperm swimming along, breaking into the egg, then watching that egg break into, all the different cells as it grows into an embryo. It's really fantastic to actually watch a little YouTube video of that happening. So then each month around ovulation, you can be imagining what's happening in your body, imagining ovulation, imagining that egg traveling down the tube, the sperm coming to meet it, them combining, them turning into an embryo. So exciting, because the studies show that what we imagine in our minds influences our physical body. So I'm kind of jumping ahead to going into the physical things. I'll come back to a couple of the emotional things at the moment. But studies show that when we imagine something in our mind does not know the difference between real or imaginary. So the most famous study is a Harvard study they did in 1994, where they got one group of people to play a 5-finger piano sequence, like physically play it, hear the notes, and they asked them to do that for 2 hours a day. And then the control group, another group, imagined playing that same sequence and imagined hearing those notes. And at the end of the study, they found that the areas of the brain that lit up while someone was physically playing the piano were the same in the people who imagined playing the piano. So the brain was being influenced in the same way. And so athletes take advantage of this. And pretty much, I can't imagine nowadays that any athlete, any Olympian wouldn't be using visualization, because there are so many studies that show that you can improve your game, improve your muscle mass, improve your finesse. So it's amazing when I was looking into the studies to share with you today, the amount of athletes that say that visualization for them feels like just as important as their physical training. So they might be training physically for like 6 hours a day, and then they will be using their mind, and some visualize for up to 2 hours a day. So that could be visualizing, crossing the finish line if they're a runner. It could be scoring that basket or scoring that goal. And the stories are so inspiring and exciting that they are so like, yes, we do this because we know it works and we know it improves my game.
Amazing, isn't it? And if it is so widely known in the sports arena and it's so widely used and accepted, that of course this is having a positive effect on the way my body functions and the message that my mind is sending to my body, then why would we not use it in other areas? It just seems so perfect, doesn't it, to do that? Because the sports people, they know it already. Now it's time for everyone else to get on board with this.
Yeah, because the studies show that for if you use hypnosis during embryo transfer in IVF, you can actually double the chances of pregnancy. So there's an amazing study here. So they got 2 groups of people, so 98 in one group that had hypnosis during embryo transfer, and then 96 in the other group where they just had, regular transfer. And from the group with hypnosis, where are we? Yeah, it was 52 clinical pregnancies out of 98 cycles with an implantation rate of 28%. And in the control group, it was 29 out of 96 with only an implantation rate of 14.4. So that is like hugely. And the study is basically saying this strongly suggests that using hypnosis not only significantly improves the outcome, but the patient's attitude to the treatment was more favorable, which means you feel better going through this treatment that so many can find so overwhelming or so traumatic. I love studies like this because we're like, this is known, this is a study, like, on the the NCIB website, yet not all clinics are saying, oh, by the way, have you got a hypnosis track to pop on before we do embryo transfer? And I'm like, Why is this not just part of every single treatment?
Yeah, I agree, absolutely. And I know that some clinics are looking at it more now. So I guess as time goes on and things become more, recognized and widely requested as well, perhaps by patients, it's
Yeah.
good conversations to have with your doctor, isn't it? To let them know what you're using. Are you using hypnosis, meditation, EFT, visualization, and share that, because the more they hear about it, the more this might become the norm. Let's hope so. I know both you and I really hope for that in the
Yeah,
future,
we're
don't
like,
we?
come
To
on.
really integrate this. Yeah. And of course, you're talking about the mind-body effect there as well. But we've got to remember that when people find fertility treatment so unbearable and uncomfortable and stressful, they're not even going to want to go ahead with another cycle, even if it
Yeah.
seems like that would be successful, or they're giving themselves another good chance of success if they have another cycle. They still, so many people just delay, don't they, or put it off completely because it was so stressful. So anything we can do to visualize and create a positive experience in the moment, and then hopefully towards a positive outcome, can only be a good thing in my mind anyway.
Well, definitely. I think that's what's so exciting, that even if these things, just made you feel better,
Mm.
they're worth doing. But then having all the studies to back up the fact that they can have such a positive impact on your success rate as well as your quality of life, just, yeah, absolutely love it. And the
Great.
so jumping back to our emotional benefits, so other bits I've got on my list are the fact that you're instructing your subconscious and giving it a clear goal for what you want. Because what you want is that for your mind, body to be completely ready and open, ready, to accept the embryo and to accept the pregnancy. So by using visualization, what we can do is we can um, uncover any conscious or unconscious blocks. So when we're doing the visualization a little bit later, it might be triggering for you. So something I always do with clients when I first start working with them is to guide them through a visualization where we start off visualizing, what was it going to feel like when you first get pregnant? What's your 6-week scan going to be like? What's your 12-week scan going to be like? What's it going to be like 20 weeks in? How does it feel that your body is changing? How does it feel when you go into labor? How does it feel to give birth? How does it feel to have a newborn? How does it feel to have a toddler, a 16-year-old, and then a 30-year-old? And I go through all of those steps. And what we're doing there is getting them to imagine each of these stages and finding if there are any red flags. So when we're doing this, if someone has maybe had issues with their body in the past, when they imagine getting pregnant and getting that really big belly and really big boobs, if there's part of them in there going like, oh, I don't want to put weight on, how's my body going to change? Oh, I don't know about that. That is then your subconscious mind going like, oh, red flag, oh, don't know about pregnancy. Or if you've got like a major fear of birth, so when you imagine giving birth, you start sweating, you start feeling really panicky. That's underlying the whole time. So when you're asking your body to get pregnant, obviously you get pregnant, you have to give birth at some point. And so you can then work through using emotional freedom technique,
I was just
obviously,
going to say that. Yep.
to clear these things. Because if you imagine something and there's any part of you that feels uncomfortable, tap it out. And you can then
Absolutely.
clear that so that it is a positive experience. Because some people do find doing these visualizations hugely triggering, especially if, for example, you've been through a miscarriage. So then imagining being pregnant is very conflicting to you, because yes, you want to be a mum and have a baby, but the idea of actually being pregnant again is really scary, because what if I miscarriage again? And so we're using visualization and confirming that, and then using the EFT to clear the blocks, clear the fear. It just makes complete sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm so pleased that you mentioned EFT. We're both big fans of that, and that's
Oh
another
yeah.
whole episode which you have on your podcast, Embrace Fertility, so people can go and check that one out separately. But I use the two together. I've done it a few different times, actually, in different situations, but I did it most recently in my Sanctuary membership, and I called it superpowered visualizations, or superpowered fertility visualizations, because using the visualization as a tool, like you say, to understand more about ourselves, understand where we feel blocked, where we actually have some fear or some anxiety, or perhaps pushing some aspect of conceiving away, and then we can learn more about ourselves and, like you say, clear it with simple tapping rounds, and then be able to more fully go into the visualizations and then get the benefits of them. Something else that you were saying as well, I don't know if you've got any advice on this or what you would say to people, but a lot of people might say, well, I'm kind of scared to visualize and get my hopes up too high, because won't I just be kind of setting myself up for a fall, if it doesn't work out? And they kind of stay in the more negative mindset because that feels safer, to kind of predict the worst anyway, so that if that happens, then they haven't got so far to fall. Does that make sense? I'm sure you must hear that as well.
Yeah, that's something that comes up a lot. And it can also be that, in a way, it can be like the negative, as it were, of visualization, because there are some therapists and hypnosis downloads, even like things on YouTube you can listen to, and they're like, listen to this, imagine being pregnant, really, really believe, and ping, it will just happen. And so I was one of those people that back 10 years ago, I was like, downloaded these hypnosis MP3s, followed all the instructions, listened to them, didn't get pregnant. And I was like, oh my God, like maybe I don't believe enough, I'm not doing it right, and so I always say, like, visualization is one of the 5 steps of my 5-step method that, we're doing the clearing work, we're doing the connecting work, we're uncovering any blocks, any triggers. And so it's also, though, we think that it's not going to hurt as much if we haven't got our hopes up, but it hurts just as much. It's about taking something on and knowing that by listening, so in mine, it's like you can listen and be like, this is a demand. I'm visualizing what I want. It has to happen. Or you can listen and have like, this is like, you take the timeline off it. So instead of like, I've listened to these tracks for 1 month, therefore, if it doesn't happen, they haven't worked, therefore I stop listening. It's more like you take the time frame off and go, at some point in my future, this is going to happen. How can I move myself towards that and welcome that in and let it be an invitation for this to come into my life, rather than this has to happen immediately now. And I totally know that energy, because I was that person. I was like, every single month, I was like, just let it be now, please. But if you can listen in a more like, in my future, at some point in the next few months, rather than sort of pinning it all on having to be this month.
Yeah, I like that. It takes the pressure away and also just opens us up to every possibility whenever that is going to happen. It feels a much more comfortable place to step into, doesn't it? And less pressurized and less urgency. So thank you for giving that differentiation. I can't say that word. There we go.
It's also that like you're practicing. So one of the like really interesting things I read about last week was Alex Holden, who's the guy who free climbed up the North Face in Yosemite, like humongous mountain cliff face, and he did it with no ropes and no support team. And he did this and he visualized it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and then he physically climbed it with ropes, and they mapped it all out, and he had a whole team, they mapped out all the different things. But he said he visualized it so many times, then when he was doing it, it felt normal. It felt natural that he was climbing up this giant friggin' North Face with no ropes, but he'd done it so many times in his mind, there was no fear there. So if you imagine, you're imagining that scan that you're going to time and time and time again. So instead of feeling like really nervous, like what's going to happen or what are they going to say, if you've imagined it time and time again, like going really well, then when your body gets there, instead of being like really nervous of the unknown and what's going to happen, your body is like, oh yeah, I've done this hundreds of times. Yeah, it's fine. And you're then in a better mental state that even if then, so you're not saying, you're not, forcing life or the hand of God to make it be as you visualize, but you're in then such a better mind space that however it goes in that scan, you're not stressed before you've even found out. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And then we often, if we don't go into those appointments and scans and whatever it is, and definitely at embryo transfer, I know that's a key time, isn't it, to have this relaxed state, then we haven't already got our, stress levels really high and just waiting for the next thing to come in. And if the news isn't what we want it to be, at least we're going in then with a calm, open mind, we'll take that information in more fully. We'll be able to listen clearly to what we're being told, rather than being that panic where we can't even, take in the information, and be able to have a good conversation and really understand what's going on. I think it's always a good idea to do that, so thank you for highlighting it. Now, I know you want to bring in a wonderful visualization. I know you've been working hard on it. I saw it on your Instagram stories today that you've been practicing it, and then you were having this lovely lie in the sun with your cat after the visualization, so I can't wait.
I was so chilled afterwards.
I'm looking forward to doing that.
Lie down now. Yeah.
Wonderful. So I want us to have enough time to do that. But before that, is there anything else key that you really want to share with us before we go into the relaxation?
The only thing was to just mention the fact that our mind and body, like I said, are completely interlinked, and the thoughts we think physically impact our body. And I suppose the most the most obvious way is when a man thinks sexy thoughts and then gets an erection. That's the most obvious example of thoughts in the mind physically impacting our body. So as we're using visualization, and as we go through the visualization in a moment, know that you can be physically impacting your body with the thoughts you think. So in the same way that you could think about something really scary, like maybe something really scary that happened to you in the past, and make your heartbeat quicken, make yourself feel scared in the moment, remembering something scary from the past, by imagining what you want in the future and imagining what your body is physically doing, you can impact your body on a physical level.
Thank you. Really good to know. So what are you going to be sharing with us today then? How is this going to go?
Okay, so I'd say please only listen to this visualization if it's safe for you to do so. So if you're driving or working, operating machinery, then just pause the podcast and come back to it when you can safely close your eyes for at least, for 10 minutes, just be 10 minutes long, and really immerse yourself in it, really allow yourself to enjoy it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Naomi. I'll hand over to you, and I look forward to listening.
Fantastic. So during this visualization, I'm going to be asking you to imagine being pregnant and imagine being a mum. Like I mentioned earlier, if any of this is triggering for you in any way, then please do journal about it. Listen to it all the way through and then journal about it afterwards, and look at why you found each of these things triggering rather, and then do some clearing work. So do some EFT, do some journaling, or reach out for support if you need it. So if everyone would like to just get themselves really comfortable, so either sitting down with your back supported, or maybe lying down, and if you're lying down, you might like to put a cushion below your knees and under your head, just to take the pressure off your lower back and allow yourself just to get super, super comfy. Okay, so now just allow your eyes to close and just stop. That's right. Just give yourself permission now to just stop. And I'd like you to rub your hands together and then place the balls of your hands over your eyes so that your forehead is resting in your palms. And just feel your head being supported by your hands. And just breathe into that support. And if you find that your mind is racing, you might like to just gently shush it, doing this with love and compassion, as you would a child. And now just gently start to massage your forehead with your fingertips, moving down your forehead to your eyebrows, along your brows to the side of your eyes, and just massage little muscles around your eyes, down onto your cheekbones, the bridge of your nose, your cheeks, to your jaw, starting at your ears and gently massaging your jaw all the way down to the tip of your chin. And then move on to the back of your neck, just gently digging your fingers into your neck in whatever way feels good for you. All the way down your neck to the top of your shoulders, And as you do, just allow your breath to become deep and soothing. Just hold on to your shoulders and allow your arms to relax for a moment. So it's like you're holding yourself down, grounding yourself into the earth, grounding yourself to this present moment. And allow your breath to become deep and soothing, releasing, relaxing, and letting go with each out breath. And placing both of your hands on your belly now, whatever way feels right for you. And focusing on the very top of your head as I count 5. The little muscles around your eyes relaxing as I count 4. Your jaw relaxing, perhaps hanging loose as I count 3. Your shoulders dropping a little deeper as I count 2. As 1, taking a really deep breath in and resting here in this moment. And bring your attention to your hands resting on your belly and what it feels like to connect with your body in this way. And I invite you to imagine how it will feel to hold your belly in this way when you are 12 and a half weeks pregnant. A slight bump beginning to show, your baby safe and snug in your belly. Allow yourself to gently float into your future and allow all of your senses to play this game with us. Know that it is safe for you to imagine that which you desire. Know that by allowing yourself to imagine your future in this way, you are creating new neural pathways in your mind. What does it physically feel like to be 12 and a half weeks pregnant? Your 12-week scan is a happy memory. You remember it now. Seeing that strong, pumping heartbeat on the screen, hearing that wonderful rhythmic drum of your baby's strong, pumping heartbeat, vibrating around the room around you. You can hear the voice of the sonographer in your mind telling you that all is well. And you smile as you look back and remember those feelings of relief flooding through your body when you knew everything is going to be all right. And you can allow those feelings of relief to flood through your body now. You can imagine what your growing baby looks like inside your belly, what he or she can hear and feel, safe and snug inside your womb that is the perfect environment for growing your strong and healthy baby. And fully immerse yourself in this moment in your future, when you are sat with your eyes closed and your hands on your belly, connecting with your baby. What would you like to say to your baby? Maybe you don't have the words. Maybe it's just a feeling that you want to send to them, letting them know that they are loved, letting them know that they are wanted, letting them know that you are ready for them. Imagine now going further into your future when your child is 3 years old. What will you be doing with your child? How will you talk to your child? How does it feel to spend time with them? And taking 3 deeper breaths now, as it is time to return to the present moment. As 3, you allow these good feelings to come with you. As 2, wiggling your fingers and toes as they slowly return to normal. And 1, gently opening your eyes.
Naomi, that was beautiful.
Thank you. I do love writing these things. I just feel so relaxed now. Like, also using my posh hypnotherapist's voice as well. It's like, oh.
Bless you. You know, that really took me back as well to how I felt when I was on my fertility journey, and how it would feel to imagine the excitement of getting to that point, like you say, that 12.5 week point. It's quite an amazing place to get to. So what a gift to give yourself when you're still on the journey, you're still waiting, just to imagine what it will be like when you get there. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, I need to bring myself back to continue the conversation. So you mentioned before, and we just want to be mindful of this again, that, you know, imagining pregnancy, especially if you've experienced loss or not got to that 12-week point, you know, it can bring up different emotions, different thoughts for people. So please, if anything is coming up for you and you want to reach out to Naomi, to me, you want to journal through your thoughts or whatever it is, you know, just see that as an opportunity as well for some healing. That's what I'd say, Naomi, wouldn't you? Like, take it as a chance to address something that might be feeling uncomfortable, but to bring it out into the open and work through it.
It's also the first time we do this. If you've never allowed yourself to really imagine this before, it can feel really overwhelming, as many things do when it's the first time. So I say to my clients, it's like, so I always get them to listen to like an MP3 I've made for them, or one of my tracks. Say, listen to it, let me know how you feel. Then listen to it again, let me know how you feel. Listen to it again, let me know how you feel. And they will be 3 very, very different emails with 3 different things coming up, because the first time we do something is, it's the first time. So then the next time it might be different. But I was also say, please do reach out. Like, you could email either of us. We're both on social media. Like, just drop us a message. If it's like a one-liner, like, this came up for me when I listened to the podcast. This came up for me. Just let us know, because then we might have some tips and pointers of where to go and what to do with that.
I'm really pleased that you mentioned about actually redoing the same thing a few times. It's like we peel back the layers, don't we? You know, as we get into the groove of doing it, and then we start to really recognize things within ourselves. So I know you told me just before we started here that you are going to be recording this, so they don't have to kind of re-listen to the podcast and fast forward to the to the visualization, but you're actually going to be recording it as a standalone MP3 and giving that away for free on your website. So that is really beautiful of you. Thank you, Naomi. It's embracefertility.co.uk, isn't it? And then they'll be able to check out all your free gifts there, of which this visualization will be one of them. I think you've got some other gifts in there, haven't you, in that bundle? What else is included?
Yes, so so when people join my mailing list, I send them three ways to start to use the Mind Body link to stress less and enhance fertility. And within there's a 3-minute MP3, which is a little reset MP3, which is fantastic to listen to. Listen to at least once a day, and it just literally helps you reset in the moment and bring yourself back to yourself. And it includes that countdown I did at the beginning of this visualization, like going from your head through your face and helping you relax in the moment. There's the first chapter of my upcoming book, where I show loads of the studies that show the link between the mind, body, and fertility, and how using these techniques can help. And also a 10-minute heart anchor meditation and visualization, which is so beautiful. And I've recorded that one sat in the woods in a big pile of bluebells. So yeah. Lots of people comment on the backing is also beautiful to look at as well.
Gorgeous. That natural background is lovely. So, and I know your podcast, a lot of those take place in the woods, don't they? And you hear all the nature around. It's just lovely. So thank you so much for offering that free gift. I will be putting the link on my website along with your social media links as well. But you're on Instagram and Facebook under Embrace Fertility. We'll put all of that on my website at fertilemindset.com/podcast. And this is episode number 11. So you'll be able to find all the notes from here, all the links and the transcript. Everything will be there for you to get to know Naomi more and get to know, what you can do right now to support your mind, your emotional state, and to step into using these visualizations is a wonderful thing to do. So Thank you so much, Naomi. That was my most relaxing interview so far, I think, having a moment of stillness there. And yeah, really lovely to dig into that more with you and hear more about how you use visualizations. I know you have a whole toolkit of different techniques that you use, including EFT and the visualizations and hypnotherapy that you touched on as well. So I'm really pleased later, and next week it will be, you're going to be coming into my private group for the Fertile Mindset Sanctuary and doing a little private session there. We're going to have another live chat, take questions. Maybe we'll get you to do another visualization. Who knows?
Yeah.
It will be lots of fun. But that's on Friday, the 5th of March. And we're going to be meeting at 8 p.m. UK time. And if you are already a member of the Fertile Mindset Sanctuary under the Blossom or Bloom levels, then you'll absolutely be able to come in and join us. If you are thinking of upgrading, if you're on the free level at the moment and you're thinking of upgrading, then this could be an amazing reason to do so that you can come and speak to Naomi directly, ask your questions, and have that one-to-one direction and support with however you want to use visualizations and all the mindset work on your fertility journey. So thank you so much for giving us not only this time now, Naomi, but also in that private session that we'll be doing in the sanctuary. It's amazing that you're so giving of your time. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it. Always a pleasure to hang out with you, Sarah. And I just love that we're both so passionate about this and you're able to share this like through podcasts and through the groups. I love it.
Yeah, we both know, having been through it ourselves as well, don't we, how important this mindset piece is. So it's time for us to shout more about it and make sure that more people are taking care of their mindset. So thank you for all the work you do. It's absolutely brilliant.
Thank you for having me on the podcast.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm so pleased you're listening to the Fertile Mindset podcast, and now I would love to invite you to join us in the Fertile Mindset Sanctuary. The Sanctuary is my fertility support membership, which is focused on taking care of you and helping you enjoy your life while you wait for your baby. In the Sanctuary, I'll guide you through using an amazing technique called EFT or tapping, and you'll soon be feeling less stressed and more joyful. If you're not already in the Sanctuary, do come and join us today, because the best time to start receiving support on your fertility journey is always right now. Honestly, it makes such a difference to have good quality emotional support and techniques that you can pick up and use yourself whenever you need them. Go to fertilemindset.com/sanctuary to join us today. I look forward to hopefully seeing you there and at the next episode of the Fertile Mindset podcast.